Welcome to Defi Crypto Today. Our topic today is Be Your Own Bank, Part 4. Yes, this is becoming a weekly series, and that's where I answer your questions about the previous episodes. And we're going to expand a little bit. I'm going to show you another lending market today where you can go and perform strategies similar to what we've seen in the previous episodes. Now, it's a good idea for you to watch episode 1, 2, and 3 first so you understand what we're talking about. I don't want to repeat absolutely everything on every episode, simply because it becomes boring for people that watch the previous episodes, right? I don't mind repeating myself, but I don't want to become boring. So the links for the previous 3 episodes are in the description below. I put a ton of timestamps as well for people that know some of the topics we're going to discuss today, so you can skip ahead. And hopefully we're going to discover some new stuff together today. And if you have questions, I welcome your questions, even the tough questions. The tough questions are the best ones. Put them under, send your questions in the comments. And they give me ideas for how to explain things better for you to understand. All right? So let's dive in. So the point, oopsie, too fast. The point of this series, okay, is to help you go from the first line to the second line. So if we read this together, we see that the poor work for money and the rich have money work for them. So we're trying to show you how anybody, rich or poor, can make their money work for them. And hopefully everybody can become rich. There's nothing wrong with being rich. Despite what some people in the government around the world tries to tell you. We hear a lot about, oh, the rich are not paying enough taxes, and so on and so forth. Well, it's because they're smart and they don't generate a lot of taxable income. Most people that are poor only receive taxable income and then give about half to the government or more in some cases, okay? And it's not their fault, it's just that nobody showed them how to make their money work for them. So I'm trying to do that here on this channel on YouTube for you guys, okay? So that anybody, doesn't matter how much money you got 10 bucks in your pocket, you got 10 million bucks in your pocket, it's the same thing, okay? The crypto world allows you to perform the same kind of operation no matter how big your budget is, how big your portfolio is, doesn't matter, okay? And you know why it's like that? Because the governments didn't put their big paws all over it. People say, oh, there are a lot of scams on crypto. I want government regulations. You don't want government regulations. Trust me. Okay? Government regulations just do one thing. They kill innovation and they make it difficult for small businesses to be able to open up and create value for people and jobs, okay? Now, in the crypto world, the government don't know what to do with crypto yet, okay? So take advantage of it while it's more or less unregulated, okay? And you can profit tremendously from the imagination and the innovations that crypto engineers are cooking up for you. Okay, every day I look at this and I see something new. It's fantastic to see what people can do when their hands are not tied up behind their backs. The reason that traditional banking cannot do what DeFi and crypto is doing is because their hands are tied behind their backs. Okay, they'd like to do new stuff, but they're scared to do it because they might lose their banking license. Okay, and because they've been stuck into a little box for a long time, they can't think outside the box. They can't think like the way the crypto engineers think, okay? Because their mind is limited to what the regulations tell them they're allowed to think, okay? So that's why we're doing this here on this channel. I want to show you the creativity and how you can apply it on your own portfolio and make your money work for you. Okay? All right, talking about the rich, I just wanted to talk to you for a second about Elon Musk. We talked about him a couple of episodes ago because he's applying the system that we're teaching you here, okay? Unfortunately, you have to pay taxes, a lot of taxes. So when they say the super rich don't pay taxes, this guy's paying. This guy's paying. If you look in the article here on Fortune magazine, the thing that happened is that he had several options that were vesting, okay? And basically, his tax bill is going to be around $12.5 billion. And as they say here, it's the GDP of a small country. Okay? A lot of countries that don't make that kind of money. So he's going to have to pay probably close to $12.5 billion because of the way he managed his affairs. Okay? He could have saved money, to be honest, okay, and I'm pretty sure that he knew that he could have saved money, but I think what he's trying to do is buy some goodwill or something, okay, and say, all right, I'm the richest man in the world, I'm going to pay my fair share of taxes. So he went above and beyond what he had to pay, okay, so think of it what you want to think of it. But he's going to have to pay a very sizable amount of taxes. Okay? All right, let's get back to the presentation. So, we're going to do a quick little recap about what time to be your own bank means, okay? Because there's still quite a bit of confusion about why we're doing all this. It's so long and complicated. Now, the first part is we have assets we don't want to sell. Remember that. We don't want to sell them. If we wanted to sell them, we can just skip all this, okay? And just buy the assets that we want, right? But we have assets that we don't want to sell because we like them. So for instance, you have people that like Bitcoin, okay? And I like Bitcoin. And I don't want to sell my Bitcoin ever. Why? Bitcoin has a very limited supply, 21 million Bitcoin maximum. It's never going to be 22 million or more, okay? So very small, very, very small supply and almost unlimited demand because the first crypto that everybody hears about is Bitcoin, okay? Ask on the street if they heard of Time or USDC even. They don't know any of that, but they heard about Bitcoin, okay? So when those people eventually get the courage to buy crypto, first thing on their mind is, I'm going to buy some Bitcoin. Okay, so there's a very good chance that the demand for Bitcoin is going to be almost unlimited. Not only that, but you just saw that some governments started to buy Bitcoin, like El Salvador, for instance. And that's a very smart move because this asset grows in value over time, as opposed to any other financial asset that exists in the traditional world. Most of them don't grow in value because the governments print too much money. So there's too much inflation, and the value of the bonds, the value of the treasury bills, and the value of the cash keeps shrinking. okay? On the other hand, the value of Bitcoin keeps growing over time, despite the market fluctuations, but the market fluctuations, I consider them just to be noise, okay? So what do you think is going to happen to the price of Bitcoin when 1 billion people or 2 billion people are going to be buying Bitcoin? It's going to go 100x from now. No joke, okay? Right now, the total market cap of Bitcoin is about $1.3 trillion. Well, you can expect it's going to be over 100 trillion, okay, within maybe, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years. Okay, it's going to be 100x from now. No joke. Why? Because it's going to become the safest asset. And a lot of countries are going to do what El Salvador has done. They're going to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And a lot of companies are going to do that. MicroStrategy did that extremely successfully. Tesla as well. And many other companies are going to wake up to Bitcoin and are going to say, yeah, we need that because I can't put all my money on US Treasury bills. The government is printing too much money. We're going to have super high inflation. I'm losing money keeping it at the bank. So they are going to wake up to this gradually, slowly, and eventually when it happens, the price is going to go up. So you don't want to sell your Bitcoin, okay? That's one of those assets. Ethereum, pretty much the same. It's more and more useful by the minute, okay? Some people like Matic, some people like AVAX, some people like Phantom. There are many assets like these. And if you're on Wonderland, well, you like your memos, right? Okay, you don't want to sell that, because you get your rebases and it keeps growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. So you don't want to sell this stuff, okay? So that's why we have this. So, and then we take those assets and then we deposit them to earn some yield, because those assets by themselves don't earn anything. So we make them earn something, even if it's a very low rate. Why are we doing this? Because we can then wrap them. And when they're wrapped, we're allowed to use them as collateral on several lending markets. When they're used as collateral, we can borrow stablecoins against them, and then we buy more assets. And then we can loop this again like this, okay? We can take those assets that don't generate a yield, make them earn a yield, wrap them up, use them as further collateral, buy more stable coins, buy more assets, and so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. Okay? This can go on for quite a while, especially if your asset here grows in value. If you wait a year or two, your Bitcoin will grow in value, so you can borrow more. If you use time, for instance, and you stake it, well, you get rebases every 8 hours, so it grows every 8 hours. Okay? And when it grows enough, well, you can borrow again against it, and so on. All right? So that's the essence of the strategy. So let's use the real estate example, because that model came from real estate. So you have, let's say, an empty rental property. It's not generating income. You just bought it or you just built it, okay? And it's empty. And let's assume, for argument's sake, okay, that you didn't mortgage it yet, okay? Most people would start by mortgaging, but just for the sake of making it look similar, okay, we're going to say that we didn't mortgage it yet. So we have an empty rental property. We decide to put tenants in there so that we can generate some rent. We apply for a mortgage and we can get an appraisal. We use the rental property as collateral at the bank. The bank allows us to borrow fiat against the collateral. So you can get USD, you can get euros, you can get British pounds, whatever you want. And what you do with that cash? Well, you can buy more rental property, and you go on like this. And don't forget, your rental property will probably go up in value over time. That's what usually happens in property and good markets and good locations. Okay? And if they grow in value, well, you can go again, see the bank and say, hey, can I get refinance the loan on my property? And they're going to get an appraisal, going to say, yeah, looks good, we're going to give you another loan. And now you have more cash that can use to buy more properties and proceed again like this. Okay? The real estate before crypto was one of the best and easiest ways to get rich and to make your money work for you. Okay? Because the tenants pay the loan, and you gain from the capital gain of the value of the property, and you borrow against it without ever having to sell the property. And when you borrow, it's not a taxable event. And it's same here. When you borrow stablecoins against a collateral, it's not a taxable event. If you sell your asset because you need cash, that's a taxable event. If your asset went up 100x, well, imagine how much tax you're going to have to pay on that, okay? It's going to be phenomenal. You're going to have to pay a huge tax bill. So instead of making it a taxable event, make it a non-taxable event. Borrow against your asset. You see the other reason for doing this? All right. So I hope you see the analogy with real estate. It's very, very, very similar to what we're doing. So I'll use an actual example that we used before. So the Wonderland example. So we have time. The time token by itself earns no yield. If we stake time, we can earn some yield, some rebases every 8 hours, and it becomes a memo. And we can wrap the memo, it becomes a W memo on Abracadabra. We can use the W memo as collateral and borrow stable coins, the MIM, against the collateral on Abracadabra. And then we can buy more assets. So we choose what we want. We can buy time, again. We can diversify and buy climber, we can buy spell, we can buy whatever we want. Okay? And we can proceed like this again and again and again and again and again and again as soon as there's enough value for you to borrow on. Alright, now one thing that I noticed in the comments last week was that a lot of people started, they rushed into the strategy. Okay? They went on My Finance or they went on Abracadabra, okay, and they started to do the process, and only to find out that, well, My Finance didn't have any My tokens available to borrow, or same thing happened on Abracadabra. There was no MIM tokens available to borrow for the specific asset that they had available. So you need to plan ahead, okay? And take advantage of it at the time when you can borrow, right? So, the first thing is match your assets with the lending market. Abracadabra has a list of assets you can borrow against that you can use as collateral. It doesn't have every single token in the world. It's got a good selection, and the selection keeps expanding gradually week after week. But it doesn't have 10,000 different tokens there. Okay? So check on the market first what's available. Same thing on My Finance. On the AVAX network, there's only one token you can borrow against. On Phantom, they have several, and on Polygon, they have several. But on AVAX, they only had the example that I had, the actual AVAX token. That you can deposit on Defi, which under the hood deposits it on Aave and then compounds the interest and the rewards for you. Okay, and you can use that as collateral on My Finance and borrow My tokens if they are available. So you have to check that first. Okay, so does the market have your asset? Check that. Okay, on what network are the lending facilities available? Is it just on Ethereum? A lot of people don't like Ethereum right now because the gas fees are crazy. So watch for that. Okay. For instance, let's say you buy some wrap staked home on Trader Joe on Avalanche, and you say, I can take that and bring it to Abracadabra and borrow money because I saw they have a vault where we can borrow against wrap staked home. Okay, but it's on Ethereum, not Avalanche. You want to pay the gas fees? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, you have to decide. So you have Ethereum, you have Binance Smart Chain, Avalanche, Matic, Phantom. Check what's available on which network, on which lending market. Okay, you have to check this stuff first. And does the vault have any stablecoin available to borrow? Many times they don't because they're too popular, especially the wrap memo vault on Abracadabra. Now, they do replenish, okay? For Abracadabra, if you go on Twitter, let's do it so that you can see it. Let's go to Twitter. All right, Twitter coming. And we have a Twitter page, okay? DeFi Crypto T, if you're looking for it. All right, so if we search for MIM, okay, see MIM replenishes. So you follow and you ring the bell, and it's going to tell you when they replenish the MIM for all the vaults. Okay, so right now they replenish on Ethereum, 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 Arbitrum, Avalanche. This one is for XJO. Ethereum, Avalanche for wrap memo. See, it does happen. Not often enough, but it does happen. So they only gave us 619,000 MIM. Okay, for this. This was on November 12th. Okay, so I highly recommend you follow MIM _ replenishes and turn on the notification if you want to take advantage of this, because within an hour these tokens are gone. Why? Because other people follow MIM replenishes and turn on the notification before you. Okay, so there's a bit of a rush every time this happens. Okay, so be prepared for that. Go there as early as you can, as soon as you see the notification, if you want to take advantage of this. Okay, otherwise you're gonna have to wait another week. All right. Okay, so go back to the presentation. Okay, also another thing to check is that there are some markets that have the same assets, but the borrowing rates are very different. For instance, you can borrow against AVAX as a collateral on MyFinance and Abracadabra. MyFinance has 0% loans. And for Avalanche, let me see if we can check it out. Row Network, Avalanche, Connect. Let's try that. All right, now we're on Avalanche. Go borrow. All right, so right now you pay 1% interest on this if you borrow against AVAX, and you're not earning interest. On MyFinance, because you can deposit your AVAX on Defi first, you can earn a very juicy 22%, I believe. Yes, 22.27%. Now you have to use the one that says users have a, not Banker Joe. Although the interest rate is better, you cannot use it on My Finance. It only takes this one. Okay? As you can see, it has the Mu Ave AVAX token, which you can use on My Finance. All right? So perhaps you know, you want to get a better interest rate, okay, depending on your asset. So are you okay to pay 1% on Abracadabra and not earn interest, or you prefer earning interest and pay no interest? I don't know, it looks better, right? But it depends. If they don't have, if My Finance doesn't have my tokens available and you really need to do your strategy right now, and Abracadabra has MIM tokens available, then maybe you say, what the hell, I'll pay 1% and forgo my 22% APY. Up to you. That's your choice. So, which market gives you the best yield? Oopsie, I'm too fast. Which market gives you the lowest interest and the lowest fees? So that's what we just talked about. How much can you borrow? It's going to be different from market to market. Some markets will say you can borrow 50%. Some markets will say you borrow 60%. Some markets will say 25%. Whatever. You choose whatever you think is the best for you. And then you need to figure out how much should you borrow. That's different. Okay? It's part of your risk management. Okay? Risk management is very, very important, because you don't want to lose your money. If you borrow too much, if you borrow up to the limit, let's say for instance you're on Abracadabra, let's go and check it out, and let's assume that magically there's money here to borrow. Alright, so right now the maximum you can borrow on this for wrap memo is 25%. And if you click 25%, because you say you want to maximize it, the red light shows here and it says high risk. Why does it say high risk? You're only borrowing 25%. That doesn't look like a lot, right? Well, the problem is that the time token has super high fluctuations. A 70% drop in price on the time token happens almost every couple weeks. Why? Just because. It just happens, okay? People like to speculate, okay? They buy, they sell, they whatever. And some people get liquidated, okay? And because they borrowed too much, okay? And when they get liquidated, okay, that does push the price down further. Okay? So keep that in mind. So what should you do? Well, you should use the custom button, for instance, and go in the safe zone. So you can borrow 5%, you can borrow 10%, and you could borrow up to 15%, although personally, I think that's high for this type of token, because the market fluctuations are very, very wild on this token, okay? But it's up to you. Keep it in the green, okay? Don't be too greedy. You're already getting 80,000% now, or something close to that. That's already pretty fantastic, if you ask me. So don't go nuts. Unless you want to get liquidated, that's another option. Maybe you need a tax loss. You want a tax event? There you go. That's one. Okay? So keep that in mind. Manage your risk before you do all this stuff, okay? All right, so you plan, okay, and say, okay, I want to borrow 10% or 12% or 15% or 5%, whatever you want. What's the worst that can happen? Think about that first. Can you lose it all? Is it possible? On Abracadabra, if you loop and you use the leverage, that's very possible. Okay, they say so in the documentation. If you use the looping mechanism, we talked about it before. So we hit change leverage. If we hit that, we get the notification, and we use, I don't know, 3 loops or whatever we want. This position, if it gets liquidated, you end up with nothing. They take your whole collateral completely. Because when they use the leverage, they're using flash loans, and they have to pay the fees for that. Okay, so that's why you need to. You're going to lose 100% of your position here if you get liquidated. So think about that first. Do you want to risk that or not? If you don't want to risk it, don't click that button and just do a normal borrowing. Okay, no leverage. So where are we? So what's the worst that can happen? That's the worst. And also, don't put all your assets on one single strategy. Okay, what if something goes wrong and you put all your money on wrap memos and you leverage them and you borrow the maximum, and the price crashes tomorrow? Your entire portfolio is gone because you put everything on that single asset. Doesn't matter how big it was. Maybe it was $100, maybe it was $100,000, maybe it was $100 million. It doesn't matter. It's gone. Think about that before you do this. Okay? I always advocate to diversify. You should never have one position that is more than 5, 10, or even 20% at the very, very, very most. Okay? 5 to 10% is a good range. Okay, so you should have between 10 and 20 different positions. Okay, different assets in your portfolio, just in case something goes bad with one of them. Then you don't necessarily lose everything. Right? Think about that first. And then the question I get asked all the time: when do we repay the loan? Okay. Let's try to make this even more clear than we did before. You don't have to repay the loan unless you want to repay the loan. That's it. You didn't sign a contract at Abracadabra, My Finance, or wherever, saying you got to pay the loan by Friday. No. Or a year from now. No. Or 6 months from now. No. Or 10 years from now. No. As long as the strategy is making sense for you and it's profitable for you, you can leave that strategy as it is, borrowing and all. Okay, so why it's like this? In crypto we call it permissionless finance. You don't need to go and beg for the bank to get your loan. Okay, like we have to do in traditional finance, and give them paperwork this thick and sign 1 million documents, giving your life away and the soul of your children and all that stuff. Okay, you don't need to do that. It's permissionless. There's a contract, a program, okay, that manages everything. As long as you put the right amount of collateral and you borrow the right amount of funds, that position can stay like this forever. Okay? As long as you never get liquidated, you can keep on running that position and leaving it like this forever. Okay? Keep that in mind. That's super, super important. Okay? You don't have to repay the loan, as long as everything works. Obviously, if you get liquidated, they're forcing the repayment of the loan on you, and you're losing the value of the loan, any fees associated plus the interest. Okay, and so there's usually a liquidation fee in there. And if your position on Abracadabra is not a leverage, then you keep the rest. If it's leverage, you keep nothing. It's gone. Okay, on my finance, they only take the loan and the closing fee. Okay, if you get liquidated, or if you close the position, you have to pay the loan and the closing fee. That's it on my finance, nothing else. Okay, so you manage this. You are in charge. Okay, that's what I mean by you don't have to repay the loan. Nobody's forcing you. Okay, Abracadabra and my finance are not calling you and say, hey buddy, you don't pay by Friday, we'll break your legs. No, they don't do that. They don't. I swear to you, they don't do that. They don't care. You pay, and you don't pay. If you don't pay and you get liquidated, well, the program takes care of everything. Okay? So you don't have to worry about anything. Okay? As long as the position is okay, as long as you have enough collateral to cover the loan, leave it there. I have a loan I'm going to show you on another lending market. I even forgot I had the loan. I borrowed a little bit of money just to test the system, and I left it there for like 5 months. Okay, it's still there. I'll show you later. All right, so next, I need to explain a little bit about the yield. There was something kind of confusion about why are we getting such a low yield on Aave or Defi or whatever. Now, if you go on Aave right now, okay, all right, you're not getting a lot from Ethereum, 0.33%. All right, I'll admit that's not a lot, but it's still better than not getting anything. And what it allows you to do is to borrow against it if you want to borrow against it and not sell your Ethereum. You see the point? The point is not to deposit it and earn 0.33%. Okay? That's not exciting to me either. Okay? Because a lot of people said, why would I want to do all this? I can earn 12% on Binance, let's say. Okay, go ahead, put it on Binance and earn 12%. But you cannot borrow against your collateral on Binance. They don't offer that service. Right? Or if they offer that service, it's probably not 0% like on my finance or 1, 2, 3% on Abracadabra. They're probably going to charge you a lot more. Right? So think about that. Right? So first of all, earning a small interest is better than not earning any interest. Look at your bank account on traditional finance and you'll see what I mean by not earning any interest. Best way to wrap an asset. Okay. Now, wrapping the asset gives you a tax advantage. Okay, we talked about that in my tax planning video. The link is below in the description. Okay, when the asset is wrapped, let's say you have wrap memo and it's earning you 80,000%. If you don't wrap it, you're going to have to pay tax on that 80,000% interest that you're earning on Wonderland. If you wrap it, you don't have to pay taxes. Why? Because the value is inside the wrapping. Okay, the token, you only, let's say you buy one wrap memo, okay, and it's earning you 80,000%. Well, when it's wrapped, it's not making more wrap memos, but the value of the wrap memo goes up every 8 hours. So because you're not earning extra tokens, okay, in most tax jurisdictions, it's probably not taxable. Consult your accountant. I'm not a tax expert for your country. Okay, consult a specialist, okay, about this. And most likely it's going to be like that, because you still have only one token. The value of the token grows. Okay, if you ever sell the memo, you're probably going to have to pay tax on your capital gain. But while it grows in value, you're not going to pay taxes. On the other hand, if you just have regular memos and you receive a rebate every 8 hours, well, that every 8-hour rebate is taxable every 8 hours. So you have 3 taxable events per day, or 1,095 taxable events per year. Okay? That's what's going to happen. So at the end of the year, you're probably going to have a very big tax bill. And that's why we're talking about this. Because rich people reduce the number of taxable events that they have. Okay? If you want to be rich, think about taxes. The law is designed to help people, okay, that use their brain. Okay? And I'm showing you how to use your brain here. Okay? I'm showing you how to make things work for you, how to make the system work for you. Okay? The tax code, okay, was designed by very clever people. Okay? And if you know how to interpret the tax code, you can figure out, that's how you make money out of this thing. Yes, that's how you make money. You wrap your tokens. All right. And then you get a collateral advantage out of this. Okay? Because now it's wrapped and it can be used as a collateral while still earning value. Okay? The interest is inside the token. It keeps growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. You don't lose your interest. Doesn't matter if you wrapped AVAX tokens on Defi or whatever, wrap memos. As long as it's a wrapped item, it's an interest-bearing token. Okay? And the interest goes inside it. And there's a tax advantage, and you keep earning more and more and more, and it grows and grows and grows. You see? So, and you can get a stablecoin loan at a very low rate. And the last advantage is that you can reinvest the loan to get more yield. So you can invest it in anything you want, like Clima, this should be Clima, not Cloma. Clima, Home, etc. Whatever you want, right? Okay, so where are we? We're here, we're going here. Now, I made this cute little Degen level chart, okay, to figure out how Degen are you. All right? For those that don't know, Degen is degenerate, and it applies to how much you can do on DeFi and crypto. Okay? What's your skill level? Okay? On how to generate income out of DeFi and crypto. So here we're going from level 0 to level 3, but we could go on and on and on. But I'm showing you the first 4 levels. Alright? So each level has an asset. So for instance, you're at Degen level 1. You have fiat, like US dollar, euros, British pounds, Japanese yen, whatever, at the bank. Okay? So these poor people have no Degen at all. Okay? And they're earning, this is the maximum interest I found online in the United States. Okay? You can earn a fantastic 0.5%. Wow. And here, we're not using any borrowing rates or reinvestment. We're just keeping it simple for the sake of demonstration here. Alright, so that's Degen 0. And Degen 1 is people that hodl AVAX or a Bitcoin, or, you know, they only have like one token, okay? or they have tokens, but they just keep them like this in their wallet, not earning anything. Okay, and they think they're really Degen already. Okay, I'm gonna show you an example because I like the guy, but he's at Degen level 1. Okay, I like him a lot. He goes by the nickname Pomp. His name is Anthony Pomplianio. He's an American from Italian descent. And he has a very, very popular show on YouTube. So I highly recommend you follow him on Twitter and YouTube. He's got this a really good show. He interviews, you know, a lot of very famous people about crypto and so on. But this guy is like Bitcoin Maxi, okay? There's it's wall-to-wall Bitcoin at his house. Okay, there's just Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. That's it. Okay, he only invests in one thing, and it's Bitcoin. All right. I like him. He's fun. His show is fun and interesting, and the guests are great. But this guy is Degen level 1. Okay, and you might know some people like that. All right. So you hold the tokens, AVAX, Bitcoin, whatever you want, and you're earning nothing. There's nothing wrong with this strategy. If you're happy with that, that's fine. That's fine. See, like one thing you need to know is that any of these strategies by themselves, they're fine for whoever thinks they're fine. Okay? But some people feel that they want to do more with their money. Why? Because they want to make their money work for them. Remember what we talked about at the beginning? Okay. Now, here your money kind of works if AVAX, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever, go up in value. Lucky for Pomp, is Bitcoin went up in value considerably. Good for him. Now, let's go to Degen 2. Level 2. So we take the same AVAX we've got and we do what we did last week at episode 3 of Time to Be Your Own Bank. So we deposit the AVAX on Aave or Defi. Okay, in this case we just do it on Aave. And we earn 0.68% APY plus a bonus of 3.56%. Okay, the 0.66 APY doesn't look like much, but still higher than what you get at the bank. And the bonus is really fantastic compared to what you're getting at the bank. You're getting over 7 times more. Think about that. Okay, so that's pretty good already. Now you could borrow against it, and the rate is very competitive to what you would find at the bank if you wanted to borrow any money. You get 4.76%, and as luck would have it, you're getting paid back a bonus of 2.39%. So you're only paying about 2.5% debt on your loan. Not a lot of banks give you 2.5% loans. Okay, so already that's pretty good so far. And with whatever you borrowed against your collateral, okay, you can reinvest in time, climate, whatever else you want. Okay, so already this is becoming a little bit more sophisticated. And then we are now at Degen 3. This whole series about time to be your own bank is Degen 3 stuff. Okay, so we wrap our Mu Aave AVAX, because here in this case we take the AVAX token and we deposit them on Defi, as we explained last week. Okay, and that becomes a wrap token, and we take that token and we deposit it on My Finance. We're earning 22% on Defi, which is like fantastically higher than what you're getting at the bank. Okay, and the loans are 0% at My Finance if you're lucky enough to have my tokens available. And what you can do with your loan, again, is like you can buy time, climber, whatever, and earn a lot more interest. So we don't really care that much about this interest here, because we know that we can earn a lot more with the loan. Okay, the reason we're not selling our AVAX to buy this directly is because we think AVAX is gonna go, I don't know, 10x, 100x from now in a few years. Okay, that's because we look at like, remember what I said, we start with an asset we don't want to sell because we think it's gonna grow in value. Okay, some it's Bitcoin, some it's AVAX or Phantom or Matic or whatever, Ethereum, anything. Okay, whatever you think is the asset that's going to grow in value and you don't want to sell, you can use it here. Okay, and borrow against it. All right, next one. So we're still using the same Degen chart, but now we need to look at the risks that are involved at each level. The risks are slightly different, and we need to be aware of those risks, because some people will say, Degen 3, too much risk for me. I'll stick to Degen 2 or Degen 1 or even Degen 0. Well, up to you. That's your choice. So, so this line did not change. Okay, so we still have the same fiat at the bank and all that stuff here. Now, one risk that a lot of people are not taking into consideration is the risk of inflation. I don't know if you read the news, there's a lot of inflation right now. Why? Well, the central banks of almost every conceivable nation in the world have been printing money like there's no tomorrow. Okay, as I keep saying, the Federal Reserve in the United States printed more money in the last 2 years than in the whole history of the United States before that. And when you print too much money, you debase the value of the currency and it creates inflation. Okay, so they were trying to boost the economy by throwing cash at people. Okay, and the effect is, and that's going to, and you're going to see, is that you're going to have very high inflation. How high? Right now they're talking about 4 or 5%. What they're not telling you is that they trick the numbers. Okay, they're not using the same formula that they used back in the 1980s. I know because I was there. I was there during the Reagan era when we had like mortgages around 20%. Okay. Because the inflation was sky high back then. Inflation was over 15%. But guess what? Inflation is around 12 to 15% right now in the United States, the real inflation. And how does it translate in day-to-day life? Well, a lot of companies are finding that buying products right now to manufacture their goods is becoming very expensive. A lot of products are more difficult to find. If you try to get a turkey right now, because Thanksgiving is coming, you notice that the turkey is like 3 times the price it was last year. Not just that, there ain't not enough turkeys for everybody. The shelves are empty. It costs too much to make turkeys. And not just turkeys, but try to find anything on the shelves of any store everywhere. You'll have a very hard time to find all the items that you want. A lot of items are going to be missing or in very short supply. That's because of very high inflation. Now, what can you do? Well, you have to invest in things that grow in value instead of going down in value. Fiat currencies go down in value during the time of high inflation. But things like Bitcoin, for instance, go up in value during the time of very high inflation. Gold is another good place, and silver. Although the price of gold and silver has not moved very much, just as Pomp likes to troll on gold and silver a lot. But in my view, gold and silver are very undervalued right now. So it would not be a bad idea for people to have a little bit of gold in their portfolio, just in case. Just in case, I don't know, government shuts down the internet, or, you know, they're talking about all kinds of weird stuff if you listen carefully. So just in case it's difficult to access your crypto online or whatever, well, you should have some gold or silver lying down somewhere in a safe. Okay? Just in case something terrible happens. I'm not expecting that it happens, but it's worth preventing a crisis. Okay? So, up to you. All right, so we're talking about inflation. The asset with the highest risk is fiat. Just leaving your cash in your pocket or at the bank, which earns the same amount as your pocket, okay, you're losing value by the minute because you're not earning anything on this. And the government is devaluating your currency right now as we speak by printing too much. So think about this very seriously. Now, Degen level 1 has also a high risk because you're at the mercy of market fluctuations on your asset. But it's not as high risk as fiat. The reason I'm saying this is, yeah, like the market fluctuations on Bitcoin can be very wild sometimes. So you could, you know, lose 50% tomorrow of the value of your tokens. Same with AVAX or whatever. So there's quite a bit of risk involved here. Now, if you deposit on Aave, I consider that the risk is lower because you're earning some interest that compensates for the inflation. Here there's no interest compensating for inflation. You're just hoping that the value of your tokens go up over time, and that's why that's a high risk. Here it's a medium risk because you're getting a little bit of interest. Here it's a lower risk because Defi gives you 22%. 22% is over the inflation rate of 12 to 15% that we have right now in the United States. The real inflation I talked about earlier. So your risk of inflation having an impact on your position, oops, let's go back here, is very low on this one because you're using Defi that's giving you 22%. Here you're getting about total about 4 or 5%. Here you're getting nothing, so that's why it's a high risk. And here you're earning even less, and your asset is losing value on top of it, and that's why that's very high risk. Here your asset should go up in value over time, although there's a risk that it won't if the market is crashing or whatever. And you're not earning any interest to compensate for the inflation. All right, that's why there are two things that make this high risk. All right, then there's a hacker risk. I say that it's medium because the banks are the target of hackers. Okay, it's a little bit different the way they operate, but there's a high risk. Okay, a medium risk. Sorry. That the banks are going to get hacked by hackers. It happens from time to time, and I used to work in a bank a long time ago, and I know that when bad things happen to banks, you never hear about it. Okay? There's this rule in the banking sector that if they get hacked, or if employees steal the money, or whatever, it doesn't reach the news. They keep it secret, because they don't want people to go and have a run on the bank and say, I want my money back. So they keep it secret. You're hardly ever going to hear about a bank getting hacked, but the risk is there, and I consider it to be a medium risk. Now, Degen level 1, on the other hand, has a lower risk, I think, as long as you protect your wallet. If you're silly and you go on every crazy new website that tells you, hey, come here and invest at 3 quadrillion %, and you don't check if they're legit or not, okay, then you are at a higher risk. But if you keep your wallet safe, you're at a very low risk. Same on Aave. Aave is being audited 24/7. Defi has been around a long time and has not been hacked as far as I know. So the risk would be pretty low. Now here I put the risk at medium because you have two protocols put together. You have Defi plus MyFinance. Okay, so when you add more protocols to your chain, okay, well, the risks are added. Okay, so if you have like several low risk items, it becomes a medium risk. Price fluctuations not applicable to fiat at the bank. Okay, $100 is going to be $100 unless the bank takes some fees out, which they often do. Here on the price fluctuations, a medium issue for most of the tokens that people would use in these strategies. Here you also have a medium risk for Degen 2 and Degen 3. It's the same risk because it's the same asset. Now, liquidation risk, because we're not taking a loan in the bank here in this example, there's no liquidation risk. Same here, we're not borrowing against our, oh my God, why am I doing this? There's no liquidation because we're not borrowing at Degen 1 also. At Degen 2, we are borrowing on Aave, for instance, and the risk can be medium to high depending on how much you're borrowing. If you're borrowing very, very close to the liquidation level, you have a very high risk. So I don't recommend it unless you're a daredevil and you really, really, really enjoy the thrill of living on the edge, okay? You're the kind of guy that goes to the Grand Canyon and you park your car right on the edge of the cliff. Right on the edge. Right? Because you think that's more exciting. Okay? You could park it a mile away from that thing. No, you park it right on the edge. That's what I picture in my head when people borrow the maximum in these strategies. Okay? You're putting yourself right on the edge, right on the edge. You could get liquidated in any minute, okay? That's not my preferred way of doing investments, okay? And I'm warning you here, it's very risky. You can get liquidated in a snap, okay? So same thing with Degen 3. Don't borrow too much if you want to preserve your capital. If they allow you 50%, go 25. On Abracadabra for Wrap Memo, they allow you 25%. Go 5 or 10%, maybe 12. But try to go like less than half of what they allow you to borrow. This way, you reduce your risk considerably. You don't have a high chance of getting liquidated if you do that. All right. Finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about impermanent loss. Some of the, in the new market I'm showing you today, you can borrow against liquidity pairs, okay? And those can have impermanent loss. So I might as well talk about it here because I don't want to make just a video just about impermanent loss. It's kind of boring and nobody's going to watch it, but I know a lot of people like to watch the Time to Be Your Own Bank series. So inserting this here sneakily so that you hear about it and maybe it's going to answer some of your questions. So what is impermanent loss? We hear about it and a lot of people are very scared of it. I see that in the comments. Oh, I'd like to invest in this. It's giving 2000% APR, but I'm afraid of impermanent loss. Listen, if it's giving you 2000% APR, forget the impermanent loss. It's very unlikely you're going to lose a lot on the impermanent loss if you're earning 2000% APR. Okay? All right. So what is impermanent loss? The impermanent loss you get in a liquidity pool token. So you go in a liquidity pool, and typically most of them, they have two tokens. So you can have USDC against wrapped Ethereum, for instance, right? So it's a liquidity pair that we put in a pool, okay? Why do we do this? When we do this, it allows people that say, okay, I want to trade my USDC for some Ethereum, or I want to trade my Ethereum for some USDC. So in order to be able to do that, we need to have a big pool where people can, drop some USDC and pick up some Ethereum and vice versa. Okay, so every time people do this and they perform a swap, the pool collects a fee, and people that put liquidity pair tokens, the USDC wrapped Ethereum pair, in the pool, they receive a portion of the fees that are collected during the swapping. Okay, that's why this whole thing exists. Okay, and if you saw the Popsicle video, link is below, we saw that, and there are some liquidity pools that earn like fantastic APRs, like 2,266% for the Elon wrapped Ethereum liquidity pool. Okay, so for that pool, don't worry too much about the impermanent loss. You're earning money hand over fist already. They're throwing cash at you. Don't worry. You'll see right here, the impermanent loss is not that much, as long as your liquidity pool gives you enough return to cover it, right? So how is the impermanent loss happen? Well, it's caused by the rebalancing when one asset goes up in value against the other asset. I should remove the S here. Okay, so remember we have our USDC and wrapped Ethereum, right? Let's say the wrapped Ethereum goes up and up and up and up and up in value. Okay, well, the liquidity, the code, okay, doesn't like that. It wants to rebalance. It wants that each side to be worth 50% of the pool, right? So if, for instance, the Ethereum goes up $1,000, well, $500 is going to go on the USDC. So the pool is going to sell $500 worth of Ethereum and buy $500 worth of USDC. And it's balanced again. So basically, you're earning half of the gain on the Ethereum side, but you're gaining on the USDC side. So you're losing on one side but gaining on the other side. And then if you separate those tokens, okay, and you separate those tokens and you look at the difference between keeping them in the pool and keeping them in your wallet, if it's higher in your wallet than in the pool, then you have an impermanent loss. Okay? But why are we doing this if we risk getting impermanent loss? It's because of those fees I told you about a minute ago. Sometimes we get a lot of fees because the pool is very popular and a lot of people are trading in there. Okay, if there's a lot of trade in that pool, it generates a ton of cash. Okay, and those fees are distributed back to you. Okay. So on the one hand, you might be losing a little bit on the impermanent loss, but on the other hand, maybe you're earning a lot on the swap fees. So you have to look at this and consider if it's worth the time to put your money in there or not. Okay? So for instance, we can see here, if we went to 1.25%, so let's say Ethereum went up 25%, well, we only lose 0.6%. Our impermanent loss only is 0.6%. It's not so bad. Let's say the Ethereum went up 50%. Well, we're losing now about 2%. If it goes up 75%, then we're losing 3.8%. So you see, it's a huge increase on the Ethereum side. You have to go 75% up to lose 3%. Okay? Now, look at the pool. How much is it giving you? Is the pool giving you more than 3%? If the pool is giving you 10%, 20%, or whatever, Yeah, you're gaining. So you're not losing money. All right. So anyway, you can go up to here, the calculations I show you, show 5x price change. So let's say Ethereum goes up 5x. How much impermanent loss are you incurring? Only 25.5%. So if your pool is earning, I don't know, 50% or whatever, you're still gaining. Okay, you're still ahead. So keep this stuff in mind when you think about impermanent loss. Are you really losing money or not? Many times you're not, unless the rate of return on your LP is super low. If it's lower than the impermanent loss, well, then definitely you're losing. Okay, so be aware of this. And you're going to say, all right, is there a place where I can calculate my impermanent loss? Yes, there is. And it's called, yeah, I love the name too, Baller. It's called Baller. Go to Baller. I'll put the link down in the description. So here they call it Baller because I think the guy who programmed this worked at Balancer, and the token at Balancer is BAL, B-A-L. So they made this and they call it Baller. Right. On Balancer, they have pools that have multiple tokens. So you can have 2 tokens, you can have 3, 5, 10, 20, you know, as many tokens as you want. And here, see, like one token here went up 400%, and this one went up 150%, this one went up 400%. So we can change these values. So let's say this one didn't go up, this one stayed at 100%. So now we incur 7% loss. How much is this LP earning? Okay, if it's earning, let's say 12%, well, we're ahead. If it's earning 5%, well, we're losing. Okay, so these are like price changes that you can expect. Let's say if the price goes up 25%, if the price goes down 50%, if. So you can figure it out here. Okay, and see if you think it's a good pool for you or not. Are you getting too much possible impermanent loss or not? Okay. All right. So that's it for this one. All right. I wanted to show you quickly, before we actually demonstrate on the new market, I wanted to show you quickly that there's some new stuff on the Avalanche side of Abracadabra. I'm not going to demonstrate this, I just want you to be aware of it. They've got an LP here, the USDC AVAX JLP, that's for Trader Joe, I think LP. And you can still borrow against it, amazingly. And you also have XJoe. XJoe is a yield-bearing asset, a yield-bearing token from Trader Joe, and it's earning a portion of the fees that are collected by the protocol. Okay, so that's very interesting, and you can borrow against it, and this will keep on getting more and more value as Trader Joe collects more and more fees. Okay, so the value of your collateral should go up over time, which allows you to borrow more and more over time. This is interesting because, as we're going to see here, where's the USDC? Hang on. Oh, this is the XJoe. If you deposit it here, you earn 22%. Now, if we go to the USDC, where is the pool? Yeah, this one. USDC Joe, you're earning 99% APR. That's huge. That's APR, not APY, APR. Okay, you're earning a lot of money. Okay, on this. All right. So consider that. That's a very interesting proposition here. Okay. Okay. So let's go to the new market I promised you. All right, it's called Ramp Defi. The link is in the description below. And it has some similarities with My Finance and Abracadabra, and some differences as well. It's available on 3 networks. We've got Binance Smart Chain, we've got Polygon, and we've got Ethereum. For the demonstration, I'm going to use Ethereum, sorry, not Ethereum, Polygon, because gas fees are tiny, and I'm going to use a very tiny amount of money to play with. But okay, right now it's not connected, but we're on the Binance Smart Chain, so might as well show you what they have available. So they have the stablecoin vaults. Ramp has its own stablecoin called RUSD. And right now, I don't think it's available. Hang on, let me connect my wallet first. So we can choose which network. So let's go with this one first. And we're going to use MetaMask and connect. Okay. It's connected or not? Okay, we're connected. If we check here, we cannot mint, so we cannot borrow against it. So forget about this one. We could deposit, but we're not going to do that. Okay, so here we have single asset markets where you can deposit, let's say cake. Cake is very popular on Binance Smart Chain. You could earn 40% APY on this, and you can borrow at 1% interest. So if we look at it here, we could be minting if we deposit some tokens here. All right. So they've got BNB, got Link, BTCB, and Ethereum, and so on. And you've got a pile of liquidity pairs. That's why I explained the impermanent loss earlier, just in case you're worried about it. So look at the interest rates, look at the pairs, whatever you've got lying around, and you only need to pay 1 or 2%, right? Only 1 or 2% on your loan. So it's very good loan, very low loan. So let's switch to Polygon now, because I want to perform the operation. So we're going to do like we did last time. I'm going to deposit some Matic. Let's see if we can get it. Okay, in this case the interest is 2%. Now, of course, we're not earning a ton of interest here. I'm doing it for demonstration, and I'm assuming, okay, that I'm a Matic Maxi and that I don't want to sell my Matic because I think Matic is going to go up in value, and that's why I don't want to sell it, and I want to use it as collateral so I can borrow and invest in something else. That's the point of depositing it here. Okay, so approve contract to deposit, so we click on that first. So pay a small fee for approving, and we wait a bit. Okay, so we want to stake. Let's do this. Is there a place that's going to tell us how much I can stake or not? I haven't done this in a while. Where is the staking? Ah, yeah, there we go. So I have 9 Matics, I think. How many Matics do I have? 8 Matics. So let me do 6. Oh, I need wrap Matics. I don't have wrap Matics right now. I'm gonna get some wrap Matic. Okay, so now we have some wrap Matic that we can use to deposit. So let's deposit them and confirm in MetaMask. Okay, so I'm going to deposit this. At some point it's going to appear magically here. Let's check if it's finished. Okay, the operation is done. Just have to wait until it refreshes. We have to refresh the page manually. There's a refresh button here maybe. So let's try this. So Rapmatic. Okay, so total we have 64 Rapmatic available that are deposited and earning a little bit of interest for us right now. Alright, now it says on the minting side, that's where we can get our stablecoin, which is the RUSD, right? So we could borrow up to 82 RUSD. I'm not going to borrow the maximum because I want to stay safe. Remember, we talked about risk management and safety earlier. So how much I'm going to borrow? I'm going to borrow about half. So let's say 40. Okay, and we're going to mint those tokens. Okay. Confirm. At some point it's going to show here. If it doesn't, we'll refresh the page again. So here it tells you the collateralization ratio has to be over 135%. So you need at least 135% more than you borrow. That's what that means on your deposit here. Okay, the value of your deposit has to be over that. If it becomes less than that, you get liquidated. That's what that means. This is the daily interest rate that they're charging you on your loan. So I've seen the liquidation ratio is 125%. Okay, so if it gets to 125%, you're liquidated. Okay, it doesn't say if there's a liquidation fee or something. Okay, let's refresh because it's slow. Let's do that. And let's see. Okay, let's go. Alright, so we can see the 40 RUSD that I borrowed. Now, what can I do with this, right? So you can swap this on PancakeSwap and convert that to any token you want. Now the other nice thing is that you're on Polygon, actually not on PancakeSwap, but if you're on Polygon, you could go on 1 inch, most probably. Let's check it out. Let's go to 1 inch. Let's check if we can swap this or not. If not, we'll find another place to swap it. Okay, so we're on 1 inch. Do we have RUSD in there or not? Not yet. Ugh. Okay, maybe on quick swap. Let's check quick swap. I think they have a deal at ramp with quick swap, so let's check quick swap. Okay, see, RUSD 40. All right, so when you're on Polygon and you borrowed RUSD, by the way, if you want to add your RUSD to your wallet, you go on quick swap. You see the little plus sign here? We're going to click on it. See? And we can add the token. Now if we look in our wallet, in the assets, at the very bottom of the long list, we see the 40 RUSDs that we just borrowed, right? So, alright, so let's choose this. So we have RUSD, we have 40 of them, and we can swap them for anything. Now we're on Polygon, right? Now, here's the thing. If you want to make a lot of interest, okay, we can do this. I'll show you all the sneaky little steps that you need to do. Alright, on this, they don't have climb up. See, if we type climb up, nothing. But we're on the right network for climb up. Climb up is on Polygon, right? So, what we're going to do is that we know that to get Climber, if you don't know watch the Clima video. I put the link down below. Right? Clima is like Wonderland and Home. You can get really good yield there. I think it's over 36,000% right now. So that's why we're going to take that $40 and we're going to invest it there. Okay, I'll show you how to do that. So right now we have RUSDs. The RUSDs can be swapped on QuickSwap, but not on other places because there's a deal between RAM Defi and QuickSwap. So that's how it proceeds. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch them for USDC because we know that we need USDC to buy Clima, right? When we go on Sushi Swap. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So we do this. We click on this. And we're going to get about 39 USDC. That's good enough. The RUSD is a tiny bit lower than $1. Okay, tiny bit. I think it's 97, 98 cents, something like that. But it's a stable coin. Anyway, so we are approving this. Confirm. And we swap. Confirm the swap. Wait. Okay, confirm. All right. So transactions pending. When it's done, the balance of RUSD is going to become 0, and here we're going to get about 39 USDC, which is good enough to do a small investment on Clima. Why not, right? So remember what we did? We started with Matic, we wrapped the Matic, because on ramp we need wrap Matic. We deposited it, earning a tiny bit of interest, but that's good enough for us to be able to borrow against our wrap Matic. Okay, we didn't want to sell our Matic because we think that Matic is going to go through the roof, because we really believe in Matic and we think that it's a good ecosystem and it's going to go up in value, and that's why we didn't sell it, right? Remember that. Okay, so transaction is done. We have 39 USDC and the RUSD is gone. Okay, so now we need to go to Sushi. Sushi. You're gonna go here. Come on. Ah, there we go. See? USDC to Clima. Right? So let's max it. We got $39 and we're gonna buy a tiny bit of Clima, but I'm doing this for demonstration, okay? When you do it, you probably have more money than this, okay? So let's swap it. Yes, that's all beautiful. Okay. All right, confirm. Okay. If you never bought Clima, you can hit this button here, and it's going to add a Clima token to your MetaMask. I already did it, so I'm not going to click it now, but you can click this. Okay, so USDC is gone. Yeah, so it should be okay now. So if we look in my wallet, all right, it says failed, so we have to do it again. Didn't work. Or did I click it twice? Oh, this is QuickSwap. This is Sushi. Well, let's do it again. Somehow it failed. Let's do it again. Confirm. Come on, MetaMask. Confirm. Okay. Pending, it says. Let's wait for it to finish. Okay, now we can see it proceed. It should work. Right. See, we can see here it says 0 USDC and 0.25 something Clima. So I think it went through this time. But let's double check that. Okay, this time it worked. It didn't fail. Right. So we look at the assets. If we go down, our USDC is gone. The 39 USDCs are gone. We scroll down further. We're going to see that I have 0.025 Clima. That's what we wanted. So we're good. Now let's go to Climber. And we're going to stake our Climber. This is Climber. We want to stake. It's right here, it says. See? This is the balance of Climber that I have in my wallet. Once we stake it, this balance here becomes 0. And then the stake amount, which is 1, 2, 2, 3, is going to go up a little bit to 1, 2, almost 5 something. Okay? Alright, and I'm going to get a rebase in 1 hour and 51 minutes. The next rebase is 0.054% approximately. And see, that's the APY per year, and we're getting 37,636%. I think it was worth the trouble, right? See, we started with an asset that did not earn anything. We wrapped it and deposited it on Ramp DeFi. It earns a tiny bit of interest, better than nothing. But we didn't want to sell this token because we really believe in the future it's going to go up a lot in value. And that's why we're doing this. And then we borrowed against it. We had to swap a couple of times, and we swapped and turned it into Climber tokens, and now we're going to deposit it here to stake it, and we're going to earn this very juicy 37,000%, which is really astronomical and fantastic. So let's do that. Okay, so we're taking this, we're staking, we're confirming in MetaMask. Here we go, confirm. And we're waiting for the transaction to appear. What's going to happen, this value here is going to disappear, and this value is going to increase by this amount. Okay? We just have to wait a bit. Now let's check if the transaction is done or not. See, it's still pending here. So we just have to wait a few seconds usually. And when it's done, we're going to see a difference. Let's wait. Yes. Alright, so it took a few minutes. I don't know. Sometimes Polygon does that to me. Sometimes it's super fast. Sometimes it hangs. I don't know. But it's done. You see the Climber tokens were taken from my wallet and converted into S Climber for staked Climber. And once they're staked, they earn the rebases. Okay? And they're going to grow and grow and grow in value. Now, we're going to see more and more S Climber tokens in here. Okay, we did talk about wrapped and unwrapped tokens earlier. These are not wrapped. So these would be taxable events every 8 hours. Okay? There are no wrapped stake tokens yet for Climber, although apparently that's expected to happen. I don't know when, but with MyFinance, the same MyFinance that we talked about earlier and that we saw last week. Okay, so keep your eyes peeled, and whenever it's available on MyFinance, I'll make a video about it and show you what we can do with it. But I don't know, we might have to wait months or weeks for this, I don't know. Okay, so now you see that the point of doing all this, okay, is that I'm going to repeat the process, okay? So we start with an asset that we really like, and we don't want to sell it. Bitcoin, Matic, Ethereum, Time, whatever, okay? And we want to deposit it on a lending market somewhere. It could be Abracadabra, it could be MyFinance, and today we saw Ramp DeFi, okay? And we borrow some stablecoin against that. So if we're on Abracadabra, we borrow some MIMS. If we're on MyFinance, we borrow My tokens. And if we're on Ramp DeFi, we borrow RUSD. And then we can swap those stable coins for any other token we want and reinvest that into anything we want. Like in this case, I reinvested in Clima because I really like that project, and I'm earning a really fantastic 37,000% APY. Okay, so basically you can, this way you multiply the value of your original asset. You don't just wait and hope for, in this case, Matic to go up in value. You hope that Matic goes up in value, and that's why you keep it. You earn a little bit of interest on it when you deposit it on Aave or Defi or on Ramp, okay? And then you borrow against it. And then you can make a lot more money with it, like in this example. Okay, all right. So that's it for this video. Very long video. Lots of timestamps below and lots of links as a reference. If you like this kind of stuff, please like and subscribe. We want the likes, okay? The algorithm loves likes, and I love likes too. Don't forget to ring the bell and download the free book. The link is in the description of every single video I made. Okay? You type your email address and your name and your email address, you click the submit button, and then another page appears that has a big fat link that says download the free book. If you miss that page, that's okay. Go on the Twitter. Remember I showed you Twitter today? You go on the Twitter, you DM me, and I'll email you, DM me your email address, and I'll email you a copy of the book if you missed it. All right? So, and if you don't want the free book, you want to give money to Jeff Bezos because you want him to become a trillionaire, okay, go on Amazon and buy the book for $5.99. And Jeff will send me $1 later. See you.